Welcome, all my active traders and investors. This is Anthony with Technical Market Insights. And if you're passive in the market, make sure you hit subscribe and keep watching. You may learn something that might make you want to be a little more active to try to beat the market and compound more interest on your money, which is the quickest way to build wealth. Put your money to work, make your money, print money. And that's what we like to do here. We like to capitalize on the swings in the market. In this episode, we're going to do our weekly technical analysis on the market, see what we're looking at as far as what we're going to do with our trading account. And we're also, if you hang around till the end, going to do some scans to see if there's some buying opportunities out there. And we're also going to look at the weekly biggest winners and losers and see what was moving out there last week. All right, so as you can see, we got SPY up, which has been ripping from this oversold area, which is where we like to make our trades. This is our buying opportunity here. But this was under the 200-day moving average. So we do not touch anything under the 200-day moving average. But there was SMH. I did not really close under the 200-day moving average. So that would have been your swing trade there. We would have traded our leverage version, which we trade our leverage version, not on the leverage version chart, but based on SMH's chart. So you can see one is over the 200-day moving average and one is under, but we would have been placing buys here. And you see, we like to pay attention to the candles. We may have locked in 20% in 15 days in the overbought condition. If it's something you're building a long-term position in, you would have just been adding to them in the overbought territory, oversold territories. But you may have actually, held for a few more days. We always look at the gap ups, right? Any gap up, we like to hold for a little bit because it carries momentum. Any gap down, we stay away from for a little bit because it carries momentum most of the time. So if you ran through the gap ups, you would have made about 40% in 20 days. What a gain, considering most people hope to average 10% a year in the market. SMH is up 60% for the year. Only a percentage, close to a percentage last week. And that was really, looked like it was almost flat for the week. And as you can see, Friday's change is about what the weekly change was. And we'll take a look at those weekly charts here in a minute because they are coming up on some resistance, very strong resistance. As you can see, last week, overall, triple Qs did about a half a percentage point. SPY did about a quarter percentage point. XPY about 2%. Dow Jones about flat. Oil was down 4%. And basically your oil exploration market was down about 5%. Now year, you can see right here, you got 10%, negative 5%, negative 10%, 20%, 47%, 60%. And as always, when we trade ETFs or invest in them, and sometimes you may invest in the regular ETF, but we like trading with leverage without borrowing money on a margin account. And how we do that by leveraged ETFs. Now, one I want to show you guys, I'm pretty excited about, came to the market 4 days ago. Look at this right here. This is a 4x leverage of SPY. So usually we love trading 3x SPY. So for instance, if you would have gotten this down here, you would add 30% in a month and a half. You can say instead that would have gave you 40%. Add another. Yeah, 40% in a month and a half just on SPY. Now we would not have traded that because it dropped under the 200-day moving average. So we would have, the only one we would have been in, if you look at SMH trading, and same with the Qs. Both of those kept over the 200-day moving average. Qs a little stronger and was oversold. So we trade our leveraged ETFs once again based on the normal chart ETF. Gap ups, we hold a few days just for the momentum. You could have easily had roughly 30% in a month, which people would be stoked to hit that in a year. Very good run. Those are the swings we look for and try to capitalize on in the market. Real quick, let's take a look at the weekly charts to kind of look at what we call this weekly chart bounce here. So, and that was about in every market, and besides oil coming down. So oil we called the opposite. We figured that would come into the oversold. It did. We figured all the other ones would bounce as they did. And actually, just our last video, we were talking about NVIDIA being oversold. Same with a few other good chip stocks. And we expected SMH to bounce because of that. Now here, it only had almost a percentage run last week overall, but it did get a little bounce out of the oversold position, and you may go back up next week to that top Bollinger Band and hit some resistance. Well, let's look at the weekly charts. SMH obviously set new highs. A few weeks ago, every one of these bars on a weekly chart is a week. So 3 weeks ago, set a new high right there, which is pretty amazing. Now it is overbought on the daily's swinging back up, but the monthly chart, look at that resistance, ladies and gentlemen. And it, you get 3 bars down and then a rally up. This thing a few weeks ago, if this does actually break out, you could see 180 pretty quickly. Semiconductors are what everybody's wanting right now. It's a pretty big market, especially with AI and everything kind of boasting it. Now here, a lot of these, let's just take a look, because I see one right here. Broadcom, now that is one I think probably has a decent PE. Yeah, 26, but look at NVIDIA. Sure, it's, where is it? Yeah. That's a trailing PE. Not sure what the forward PE is. I thought it was 100 and something. Just remember, some of these things might be overpriced. We'll start looking at that here in a little bit. Regardless, we follow the chart. We're not going to look too much into fundamentals. If we find a stock chart we like, then we dig into fundamentals. But this is the chart we called last week. It's overbought. We figured it would reach back up to the previous high and take SMH with it a little bit. Watch last week's video. You'll see what I'm talking about. But as you can see, SPY for the weekly, it is sitting at some resistance from here over. That's, if it breaks up past that, 480 is going to be its next resistance. So, we might get another 4% this month out of SPY. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones is almost at its previous high. And ladies and gentlemen, it could fly past that. It's another 1.5%. We could see nobody knows if the market's going to break out or break down. Only thing I know are these swings, okay? And how to manage my account. And that's how we operate. Right? There's always swings in the market. I don't care. Some of them take, right? If we sell here, it may take, 21 days to get another oversold condition. We sold here. All right, these swings can take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, ladies and gentlemen. And I will patiently wait for them in my trading account. Now, I do have long-term positions. And those I just let ride, and I add to them when they pull back to the oversold territory. And we'll get more into that in January when we do our transparent account. So that's coming up. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I think that's going to be a really good learning experience for people new to the market. My son's going to be one of those. He's going to be turning 18 in January. He's had a custodial account since he was born, but he will be opening his own brokerage account, following along with us. As always, it's for educational purposes, but hey, let's see how quickly we can grow that account. Anyway, the overall market, pretty overbought on the daily, on the weekly, and on the monthly. All right, and just about everything besides oil and oil exploration. Now here, oil, anything we buy or trade, buy is in for the long term, or trade meaning for a swing trade. We want to be in something that if things go south very quick and we can't even continue to scale and keep our position, our cost average down, or if the market closes for 10 years, like Buffett says, we are good in that company for 10 years. We believe on it. It's making money. It's handling its business. It's got good management, and we'll get our money back plus some when the market opens back up. That's theoretical. Not a real situation. It's probably going to happen, but that's kind of where your mind wants to be. So overall, I'm expecting to see the overall market pull back to the oversold condition. It's going to happen at some point. Don't just keep going up. It could break out. You could see a big rally, even if it hits 480 before it pulls back. My money will not go to work until it hits oversold. That's the way I operate. On my long-term positions, I'm not going to buy more until they're oversold. On my trading account, I'm looking for oversold. So right now, and ladies and gentlemen, we've been saying this for markets overbought. We took our profits in this area. So it's been a month already. 30 days, 21 bars since this hit overbought. And you know what? Well, this is the Qs. Qs already pulled back, and so did SMH. We were saying to buy those. So, well, and probably buying them because they're oversold. But let's see, SPY, probably the same thing. Yeah. So it's been running really over a month and still hasn't came down. But like I said, these swing trades can take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months. But if you can get 40%, 30% to 40% every month or every other month on your portfolio, you are going to accumulate wealth at a very good pace, ladies and gentlemen. All about just compounding profits, and we will see that coming into the next year. Right? We have a good strategy we stick with. I've been doing this for 23 years, and on my wheels for a long time. I've lost a lot of money, made a lot of money, and I came to a strategy, basically a list of rules from my learning lessons, from my experience that works very well, I find, for myself. And I find it so simple, it could really work for anybody. All right, so that's where we are with the overall market. Let's pull this out. Let's take a look at, now I'm going to unfilter this. This is only the bullish companies. So there's 303 bullish stocks in the high cap 1000. That's based on my scanning criteria. I'm going to unfilter that. And let's look at some of the biggest weekly gainers. So it looks like we got one that's up. Biotech company. As always, biotechs are usually your biggest winners and biggest losers. Now that to me looks like a buyout. I wonder if that was rumors and then the buyout happened. Let's check the news. Let's see what happened. A couple days ago, which is probably not going to be in that. Might be. Kind of follow with me as I try to read through this, see what happened on this stock. The downgrade. Crazy considering. Might have to check another source. I don't know. 3 days ago, it should be in here. Okay. Right here. Oh, yeah, duh. It is a buyout. Duh. This is the one. We literally just spoke about it probably last week or the other day. But this is a buyout. Viva, ABBV agreed to basically buy them out for $45. And you see the run up to that. So that's great. Whoever made money in that, congratulations. Especially if you bought down here at 19. 100% gain in 2 months. That's a really good gain, ladies and gentlemen. Good job if you were in it. As you can see, it's over the years, it's kind of been up and down. Those are the swings we would have tried to capitalize on over the 200-day. But regardless, it being a single biotech, we would have not been in it. I don't trade single biotechs; they're too risky. Usually, you end up in more of these to the opposite direction and going up. Our next, and it's up 30% for the year, even with that. So our next weekly winner is going to be 25% in Robinhood. I know I've just seen something in my news feed talking about Kathy Wood was basically loading up on Robinhood. I don't know why, but whatever. I mean, this thing has been under the 200-day, can't hold the 200-day, but that thing has been ripping. Look, since it was oversold here, 42%. To see if there's any news out there. I mean, we'll see a lot of insiders selling some shares around this time. Could just be raising some Christmas funds. Who knows? They're introduce a crypto trading platform in the European Union. Let's just see what there's any other news in that. See here, to open up the same thing. It could be on the Kathy Wood stuff. Who knows? And launching the crypto thing in Europe. I'm just trying to read some of these other ones. Whatever. So we would not have been in that mainly because it can't hold the 200-day moving average. I don't know what its PE is. I don't like the platform at all. PE is -12, so I don't know if it's making money or not. Price to book's close to 1. Not that overvalued. Have to dig into the earnings because if the company's not making money, I really don't want to. I like to see a decent PE. And here we spoke about this one well, I want to say last week, because it's been breaking up. As soon as it hit that, started busting through that upper Bollinger Band. And then it gapped up pretty good right there. Let's see what happened with that. And I've seen a lot of insiders, like I said, that time of year. I don't care about any of that crap. I don't follow insiders, ladies and gentlemen. I did a while back, and we would get into that. But just because the insiders buying and selling don't mean the stock's going to move a certain direction, ladies and gentlemen. Actually has no indication of that whatsoever. All types of reasons insiders can buy and sell stocks. One reason they can't, that'll get them in big trouble, is for insider information. I've seen one company, it comes to mind, I've shown before. This guy has been buying this stock for as far back as I can remember. I'm sure it'll be in here. Yeah, CEO buys more. Like this is, the CEO's been buying this stock for as far back as I remember. And you can see the stock, it hasn't been doing well. Like he's just trying to take control of the company. Who knows? But if you've been on this ride just because the CEO's been buying the stock, hopefully one day you'll lock in some profit. Back to here, let's see what happened here. So we got some upgrades. Just price target. The strong cute. Okay. So it had a good earnings report, it looks like, and it's getting some upgrades. But it's not one we'd be in, ladies and gentlemen. It's been under the 200-day. As you can see, for a long time. I mean, this thing was 65 bucks up here and it's down to 24. That's not a healthy chart for me. Nothing I want to hold going down. If the PE starts looking good and it starts trending above the 200-day, we may take advantage of some of the swings. Ladies and gentlemen, there's always opportunity out there. Don't think just because you weren't in one of the biggest weekly winners or losers Well, you don't want to be in the losers. This is one of them. Take a look here. NSO Group Holding Limited, and it just broke down below the 200-day, but it's got an ugly chart overall, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. PE is 29. The company's making a little bit of money. Price to book pays a pretty strong dividend. That's correct. You have to check your brokerage account to verify it, but price to book's about 7. But as you can see, when it crossed over the 200-day moving average, right, you give it 1 or 2 swings over that, and then you start taking advantage of the swings. Now, there's not a lot of room in those swings, so, well, I take that back. There's a lower price stock, so that would have been a 17% swing just from right there. All right, when you hit these overbought conditions or oversold conditions, I've been at 10% in 5 days. So you can easily been trading that stock. All right, hit oversold right in there. We held that till it was overbought. Probably been in that area 18% in 20 days. Now here it set lower highs and started hitting some resistance right there, ladies and gentlemen. That should be a sign that, hey, maybe it's a little overbought. And then looking at or overvalued, looking at the price to book being 7. Not really a strong indication, but you're following investor psychology right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right, it pulled back the oversold position, couldn't even rally back up to the overbought right away. And look at this, people are selling it before it even gets overbought. So yeah, that breakdown something easily could have been seen. You know, the more you look at stock charts, the more you come in and study them, the easier you're going to be able to tell what's going on with the company as far as investors are concerned, as if it's time to get out. Of course, under the 200-day, we're out. No questions asked. This is the second weekly loser. This company, man, you get a lot of people probably buying this in the $70 range. Crazy. One as high as that. Let's see, the high on this sucker was $93, and it's down to $6. Ladies and gentlemen, if it doesn't have a 200-day moving average or a chart pattern for you to tell what's going on, I stay away. We're going to skip that one. It's down 12% for the week. Who knows? And here is oil and gas company that's been breaking down. Couldn't even hold the 200-day. Probably one of the most bearish one in that sector. It looks like just by looking at it. Could be wrong. Another biggest. This is a bullish chart. Been a biggest loser for the week, down 12%. And as you can see, buying in the oversold, selling the overbought on this, 35% in 16 days. Good swings in it. It's oversold again. You know, you're going to see that show up. But we would have not been in it because we would have took profit here and we'd be waiting for right around here to enter. Now this company, I don't know if they're making money. I've heard a lot about them. The PE is quite high. Price to book's only 10, which you want close to 1. But you don't follow fundamentals until we look at the stock chart and it's bullish, and then we check into the earnings, make sure the company's making money and stuff like that. All right, so now let's do a scan real quick. We already got set up down here on, we're going to do, you know what, let's do something. Set up a scan for bullish oversold, but a bullish engulf, okay? Actually, I think that's just oversold with a bullish engulf. Let's take a look. These are the only bullish ones. So MU is setting up bullish engulf, bullish stock chart, oversold, 5% run up to the previous high. If it sets a new high, be higher than that. Lin, actually a really nice looking chart there. PE on both of these. Negative 13 on MU. Is MU really losing money, ladies and gentlemen? The company's been around forever. Have to be a bad management team if it's losing money. I actually like Lynn right here. That's a $400 stock, so that ain't gonna be a big swing. 5%. Man, if you would have bought that oversold here, maybe get 12%. This company is a pay a dividend, yeah, 1%. Not saying it's something I would buy, but that's a really nice looking candle there in stock chart. Let's take a peek at some of these. Oversold, bullish engulf, don't like it. Under the 200 day. Yeah, I may add that bullish engulf to the bullish oversold, which you can see right here. Those are the only two that actually look good. Oh, well, this is one of our, why is that not bullish? Oh, you know what? I bet it's volume. Okay, so on my bullish scan, I do have volume in there to be over 200,000 a day. I do not think well has been hidden. I'll pull that up in 1 minute to verify that. AMH. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. So this is one of our favorite REITs right now. Let's take a look at the volume real quick. That's probably why it's not showing up on my. Whoa. Hmm. Interesting. So my scans, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to take a look at again because that's a bullish looking chart, as you can see. And that should come up on my bullish. So if we look at it, I will have to go through and figure out why it's not hitting one of these right here and adjust that, because that is definitely over the volume I'm looking for. I mean, that's a bullish looking chart. All right, so I'm gonna have to really do some digging. That should be bullish. Well. Interesting. All right. Anyway, we're gonna look at some bullish oversold, which this should be coming up on that. Now I'm very interested as in why not. And I will definitely be fixing that today. All right, let's take a look at, anyway, that is a good buying opportunity on this. It's oversold. If you like REITs, real estate, investment trust, it doesn't pay the highest dividend, but I know Morgan Stanley's outperform on it. And it's really just a good sector of REITs to be in, healthcare facilities. Kind of take a look at it, see what you think. Throwing that out there. Always trade at your own risk. Now there's 50 oversold stocks, ladies and gentlemen, that are bullish and oversold, and probably more considering this is not showing up. So I'm going to have to. Now here it may show up tomorrow with the candle. Man, I gotta figure that out later. Otherwise, it's gonna coming through a loop. So Broadcom, right? This is one. We're gonna look at the most oversold, and we're probably not gonna touch all of them, ladies and gentlemen, but we will kind of go through them real quick. Take a screenshot, pull up your own charts, take a look at the stock, see what you like. This is down 12% for the week, touching the bottom Bollinger Band. Ooh, negative 131 PE. That is, I don't know if they're making money or not. Doesn't sound like it. Take a look at the earnings, but not a bad looking chart. goes up to its previous high, talking 15%. EAA, this is oil and gas. Don't really like trading oil and gas. It's not nothing we would hold. This is technology, software infrastructure. Nothing we would hold for 10 years. I just don't see it having. The energy market I'm in right now is solar, not solar, is I don't know why I seen that and thought solar, is actually nuclear power, ladies and gentlemen. As you'll see in some of my previous videos, that is hit oversold actually back here. As broke down, so you would have had to continue to scale in. That's why we keep money to scale in and lower our average. So yeah, this would be a good possible swing trade. It's a utility company. People always want to use utilities. I believe it's in the nuclear energy ETF. Let's take a look. So, why is it? Sometimes I don't know why it does that. Sometimes not pull up the entire list. Sometimes not list at all. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I have to take a look. There's our next one. Again, oil and gas. We'll probably see a lot of oil and gas in here because that is usually what's oversold right now. And its design system, man, we just went over this on our last video. And this thing, great looking chart on it. I remember this company from way back when. I mean, I should have been holding this thing for a long time, but I did not. Like, I remember this company almost when I started trading. But yeah, it would make sense. Started in 01. Yeah, if I would have bought that baby, I didn't start ripping till 17. Take a look. 1,000%. 22 years. I don't know how long I've been trading, but man, it's a really nice gain. Anyway, I know we've been capitalizing on these swings and talking about it in videos, as it's probably one that came up with a bunch of other technology companies. 16% in 17 days, and you probably got another good swing coming up. And check the company out. It's been doing great. I mean, it's probably had great management. Probably a good, actually, software company to hold for the long term. Have to do some digging, but definitely a good bullish oversold opportunity, probably. Dell had a gap down. Kind of don't like that, but if you like Dell for the long term, might be a good buying opportunity. That is oil and gas. And like I said, we're not going to get through all of these, but I am going to start going down and start looking. MU is one of them we just spoke about. XPO. This pays a good dividend. This we've called previous scans on this, or yeah, buying opportunities on this. Every oversold opportunity, which should produce some really good returns and possibly a good swing trade coming up. Mobileye, Broadcom, we talked about that. Ladies and gentlemen, take a screenshot of these. Like I said, come back to them. I'm not going to hit them all. I'm going to go down through the scan. I'm scrolling down. You can kind of see what we're looking at here. I'd like to see them hit the bottom Bollinger Band, so that's getting close to oversold. And my oversold scan stops at 30 just because I want to, some of them don't always hit 25 and under, so I do want to see what's coming up. All right, and I'm going to start looking at why in the world Welltower, I'm sorry, did not come up on my bullish scan. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great week coming up, great rest of the year. I'll be back. We'll do some more market analysis in the beginning of the year. We are going to start having that transparent account up there. I'm gonna put 2K in it to start, and I'm gonna add 20% of my income because I believe everybody should be able to put 20% of their income to work. Now, you may not be able to You may not be saving anything, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to tell you, start the habit, even if it's $1 a day. All right, once you make saving money a habit, that amount will grow tremendously. Because right now you probably have spending money and running up debt a habit. Get debt free, put your money to work. Now, let's say it's for educational purposes, but say you can only open up an account half the size, $1,000 account, you can only put 10% in or half of what I'm putting in. It doesn't matter because we are going to trade this account like it's $1 million account. And what I mean by that is by percentages, right? If I have $1 million account, I'm not going to go all the way in on a position, right? I may put, if I see a long-term company I like, I might put 10% of that account value in that. And that's what we would be doing on a $1,000 account, $2,000 account, you name it. Right? It's when you have that $1,000 account, you go all in on a position. The next thing you know, it was very risky because you want to double that money quickly and you lose half of your account value. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been there and I know you probably have too. And this is what we try to avoid by teaching proper position management, proper money management, and proper buying opportunities. So make sure you stay tuned, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and learn how to grow wealth. And maybe I am totally wrong and everything falls flat on its face. Now, I don't feel like that's going to happen, or else I wouldn't have my son paying attention and watching. Been doing this for 23 years. So hopefully there's something somebody can learn from it. I'm out.